Happy Monday to you, and thanks so much for joining us tonight at 6:30. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. If you had any outdoor plans, or chances are you had to step outside at some point this weekend, and even today you notice there is still smoke lingering in the skies. And as I mentioned today, that is the same story. A really nice day besides that, but we just really haven't seen those blue skies in quite some time now. So Joe, when will this smoke start to clear out of our area?
Yeah, it's kind of moving around. We don't have a lot of wind to move the smoke right now, so it's kind of stuck overhead. Eventually, though, I think midweek, some of this will get actually pushed north of us again. There's still a lot of smoke out there, but we may get a little bit of a break midweek, but I don't think it's going to go away completely. Taking a look here, but maybe a little more blue sky coming up. We did have, now many of you are looking at dry weather out the window. It's a warm day today, but we did have a few storms in the UP. And we'll look if we have any more rain in the forecast coming up in a few minutes. And the other thing too, it stays pretty warm. So all that coming up a little later.
All right, thank you so much, Joe. And that wildfire smoke that we are talking about is drifting in from Canada. Our neighbors to the north, they're experiencing its second worst wildfire season on record, with almost 4,000 fires already this year. Smoke is coming across the border. That has affected air quality in several U.S. states, of course, here in Michigan as well. The wildfire smoke, again, drifting from Canada, and many states are under air quality alerts tonight. All of Michigan is under an air quality alert, and for more on that and what you need to know, let's bring in our guest tonight. It is Dr. Joe Santangelo. He's the Chief Medical Quality and Safety Officer for Manton Healthcare. Dr. Santangelo, thanks so much for coming on Unscripted tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So we've been talking a lot recently about the state being under an air quality alert. This is not the first day this has happened, but we throw that term around. Can you go into a little detail about what exactly does that mean? When we are under this type of alert, what do people need to know?
Yeah, being under an alert like this means that there are particles in the air that we can't see, but that when we breathe in, they can block up the passages and the smaller passages in your lungs, which can then make it harder to breathe. And so for people who have lung problems or heart problems, it can be a more serious condition, and it can cause health problems for those people.
So what should people do? So if someone does have any sort of heart problem, maybe asthma, they're in a more sensitive group, should they just not go outside, or what can they do?
Yeah, well, the first thing is to stay up to date with what the air quality is. And so keeping tuned to the news to find out what the air quality is. There are different levels of alerts. And so the levels go from green, where there are no concerns, to all the way up to purple, where it's dangerous for anyone to be outside. Where we've been recently is in the orange and red area. So orange means if you are a sensitive individual, meaning that you have lung problems or heart problems or are sensitive to smoke. Or that also applies to kids, because kids tend to be a little bit more sensitive to particulates in the air than adults. So if you're in one of those groups, then the recommendation is not to do a lot of exercise outside where you'd be breathing really hard, putting your lungs and heart under strain. So avoiding that strenuous exercise outside, if you're in one of those sensitive groups when it's in the orange zone, is really important. And then if it's in the red zone, then everyone, even if you don't think that you're sensitive, should really avoid strenuous activity outside, stay inside, and try to avoid those particulates in the air.
So then what are some of the different health effects if someone is outside during these different air quality alerts? Let's just say someone who isn't even necessarily is sensitive in a sensitive group. Like, what could happen to them if they are outside for too much with these air quality alerts?
Yeah, the most common thing to happen for somebody who's generally healthy and isn't in a sensitive group is you're outside, maybe you're exercising in a way that normally wouldn't bother you, but you start to feel a little bit of trouble breathing. It's a little harder to catch your breath. Maybe you can't exercise for quite as long or as well as you normally can. You might cough, you might get some nasal congestion. And so they're kind of just mild symptoms that then if you go inside, take a break, most of those symptoms will resolve. If you have a little bit of sensitivity, whether it's asthma or another lung disease or heart disease, then it could be more dangerous. You can have more trouble catching your breath to the point where you really feeling uncomfortable, and that's when we want you to seek medical attention.
And has that happened so far this summer? Have you had anyone come into Manton dealing with any of those issues?
Yes, we have seen an increase in emergency room and urgent care visits for people who are having breathing issues, almost always breathing issues related to the particulates in the air. And really, almost all of those patients are patients who have underlying lung or heart disease. And so that's the group that we really want to be careful with.
And it does seem like this is becoming more common. This is the third summer now that we have seen a lot of smoke in our air here in northern Michigan from wildfires burning up in Canada. Do you think this is a trend that is going to maybe continue on in the future?
Yeah, I think it's something that people should be prepared for. I'm not a meteorologist, so I'm not the best person to answer the future question, but I think it's something that people should be prepared for. And especially if you're in one of those sensitive groups, having a plan on what you can do when the air quality gets bad, having a place you can go that has filtered air is really important.
Any other tips you have for people during this time when we are under an air quality alert?
I think I'd just say listen to your body. So if you're starting to feel a little bit short of breath, take it easy. It's summer, so do all the normal things like wearing sunscreen and staying hydrated. But just listen to your body. And if you head outside and you're starting to feel a little short of breath or you're coughing, get inside to somewhere where it's a little bit calmer, and then reach out to your healthcare professional if you have any questions.
All right, Dr. Santangelo, thank you so much for coming on Unscripted tonight and giving us a little more information of what we need to know when we are dealing with the smoke in the sky and under an air quality alert. We really appreciate your time and all of your tips. We have another story to share with you, kind of switching gears here. A statewide confidential student safety tip line is actually seeing an increase in reports. The OK to Say program saw a 20% surge in tip volume last year. That's according to a 2024 annual report that was just released today. And our Allie Baxter breaks down those numbers and explains why that increase may not actually be a bad thing.
I've been with the program for 10 years, so yeah. You'll see a lot of wrinkles around my eyes.
Mary Drew is the program administrator for Michigan's OK to Say student safety tip line.
It's life-giving programs.
A confidential online reporting system for students with the goal to eliminate any social barriers that would prevent a student from coming forward to report a concerning situation.
Kids know what's going on in their school. They know what's going on online way before adults do, because they're in the classrooms, they're on the buses, they're in the hallways.
And they're on their phones, which is why Drew says this year her team is emphasizing the tagline, reporting instead of reposting.
We do see students who will see something or, they're concerned. Rather than tell a trusted adult, they're passing it on to their classmates. Hey, don't go to school on Monday. It just makes it much harder for our law enforcement partners to investigate and determine whether or not this was a significant or real threat.
According to the program's annual report released Monday, 11,671 tips were sent in by students in 2024, a 20% increase in tip volume from 2023. But is that increase due to the program's reach, or are students experiencing more mental health struggles?
I think it's a combination of all the above. I do think we have a lot of kids who are in crisis, and I also believe that, after 10 years, students have grown used to how to use the program.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. It could mean just that more kids are speaking up about what's going on.
Right. Absolutely. And again, what we always say is we would much rather get the information, take a look at the situation, determine maybe it was a misunderstanding, than to have a situation occur that could have been prevented.
According to the report, the situations students are reporting the most are instances of bullying, suicide threats, and other category, which is mostly reports of mental health struggles, drugs, and sexual misconduct.
70% of the time we are passing on new information to a school based upon our outcome reports. Again, it takes all of us working together to help ensure that we can prevent tomorrow's tragedies today.
In northern Michigan, Allie Baxter, UpNorthLive News.
And OK to Say is available 24/7, and tips can be submitted by calling, texting, emailing, and using the mobile app. Well, sticking with school, this one in Wexford County, a new approach to privacy and safety is taking shape at Manton Consolidated Schools. The district is redesigning restrooms in both the high school and the middle school, but there is more to the project than just brick and mortar. UpNorthLive's Tony Lundy has details on those changes.
Manton Consolidated Schools has unveiled a new bathroom design, including adding vaping detectors.
The priority is getting the bathrooms finished and passing inspection so that we can open school back up on time. So as soon as school is open, then that's when we will be getting the shipment in, and we're installing them. So we hope to have them by mid-September. I'm sure there'll be some time that it will take to configure making sure that they're working correctly. They'll send signals to your cell phone on which bathroom you're having an issue with.
The bathroom design changes include 6 stalls for boys and girls, including full-length stall doors for coverage for privacy, 2 sinks, and 1 mirror to eliminate groups in the bathroom. The bathroom entrance will be more open so any staff passing by can see what is going on from the hallway.
I think they will be very effective. I think it's actually going to have a positive impact. I think our students are going to appreciate the fact that they are going to have, kind of a more private area to use the restroom, and that they won't have to wait in line per se to use the restrooms.
The district is paying for the upgrades through a bond issue approved by voters. In Manton, Tony Lundy, UpNorthLive News.
And our question of the day is related to Tony's story that you just saw there. Should all schools have vaping detectors in the restrooms? Scan the QR code on your screen right now to vote. You can also head over to our Facebook page to leave a comment on our post, or you can, if you're watching live on Facebook, YouTube, or X, you can leave a live comment. I'll take a look at those comments toward the end of the show, but right now we do have 150 votes. 81% of voters at this point are saying yes, 19% no. We'll take a look at those updated results and again some of your comments toward the end of the show, but we do have some state news to pass along tonight. There is a major deal impacting thousands of employees of a longtime Grand Rapids company. Steelcase Furniture was first founded in 1912, but now it's being bought by HNI Corporation for more than $2 billion. As Autumn Pitcher reports, experts say this acquisition is likely a good move for both the company and for its employees.
Grand Rapids, before it was Beer City, was Furniture City.
Steelcase Metal Office Furniture Company, headquartered in Grand Rapids, has been operational for more than a century. Paul Isley, a professor of business at Grand Valley State University, believes the new partnership with HNI Corporation, one of the largest office furniture manufacturers in the world, is a big win for the area.
What we found is the uncertainty in today's world with things like tariffs, with things like changing trade patterns, that larger companies have an advantage. And so by increasing the size of this company, that's a good thing.
Steelcase shareholders will receive $7.20 in cash for each share and 0.2192 shares of HNI stock. President and CEO Sarah Armbruster sent this letter to employees Monday morning saying, quote, "Together we will be a diversified and resilient industry leader positioned to succeed by offering the most respected and well-recognized brands, including large corporate, small and medium-sized business, healthcare, education, and hospitality." HNI Chairman Jeffrey Loringer called the move an acquisition that brings together two respected companies with complementary strengths, saying in a statement, quote, "With the Steelcase portfolio of brands and as in-office work trends accelerate, we will be even better positioned to meet the evolving needs of the workplace." Globally, Steelcase employs 11,300 people.
We know that of those employees, about a third of them work right here in the Grand Rapids area. So it's important for us to see that that corporate entity stays.
That was Autumn Pitcher reporting. Steelcase will maintain its headquarters in Grand Rapids. HNI will continue to operate its corporate headquarters in Iowa, and the deal is expected to be finalized by the end of this year. All right, we are going to take a quick break right now, but in just a couple minutes, we will bring back in our chief meteorologist, Joe Shrolovoy. He'll have a closer look at the forecast for the rest of the week, including when the smoke in the sky is going to clear out of our area and our next chance for some rain. All of that straight ahead.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Welcome back, everyone. Kicking off our work week with some nice weather out there. It's been warm, dry for most of us, but again, the big story is that smoke that is still lingering in our skies. It's been a while since we've seen some nice, bright blue skies. Hopefully we will at some point this week, but Joe, what else can we expect for the rest of the work week?
Yeah, I mean, a warm week coming up. If anything, temperatures will actually rise a little bit toward the end of the week. And also, you know, some smoke and haze, we mentioned that. And not a lot of rain, which we had a lot. You know, it's been, I think you would agree with me, Maya, kind of a wet summer at times.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is one of our longer dry stretches that we've had, but I don't see a lot of rain coming up as we move forward. Let's go to the Northwestern Michigan Fair. You going at all?
Hopefully.
Well, we're working, but yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter will be there tomorrow.
She's going to the fair, going to the Northwestern Michigan Fair.
Yeah, that's the word. I have to pick her up. 84, easy sky, partly sunny skies. Let's take a look at these fires. So a lot of folks are asking, yeah, okay, it's smoky and hazy, but where is this all coming from? So we'll pencil this in, and this looks like there's a lot, but this includes even very small fires. You know, if an acre or two is included on this map. But what I really want to focus on is up there in Canada, north of Winnipeg, up here. And that's that big clustering of wildfires there, north of Lake Winnipeg into the pretty much southwest of Hudson Bay, west of Edmonton, that general area. That's where all these fires are. And a lot of them are still burning out of control. And it's warm up there too. You know, you think of Canada, it's cold. Not really. 77 at Winnipeg. Up at Churchill, right on Hudson Bay, at 75 right now. So there's warm weather up there, and these fires continuing. Now, we do have air quality alerts in effect through tomorrow for pretty much the entire state. And if you're wondering about the movement on the smoke, we're going to turn our wind a little more out of the east or southeast now. So still some smoke drifting through here tomorrow. There's the afternoon. And then some of that will actually head north of us by Wednesday. So see that heading up into the UP. Some haze still around Wednesday, but I think maybe a little bit of an improvement in air quality, and that'd be good as we go into the middle of the week. It's been dry, although we had a couple of showers and storms here in the eastern UP earlier, right there, including around Newberry. So not everybody was completely dry today. In fact, these storms, they were not severe, but they did drop some heavier downpours earlier. They're just about over with now in the next few days. Tomorrow, dry. Maybe a shower in the UP tomorrow afternoon. Wednesday, dry. And then Thursday, watch in the afternoon right there. We might kick off a couple showers and storms Thursday afternoon. But if you look at this, there's a lot of dry areas too. That will not be anything very widespread. We stay warm. Long range forecast, mid and upper 80s. But I do have a feeling, and I'll show you the extended forecast here, by Friday and Saturday in particular, some spots could touch 90 degrees. So no real cool down on the way anytime soon. We'll keep an eye on the smoke. Chance for a pop-up shower storm. That's the kind of week we're looking at coming up here, Maya, but it does stay on the warm side too.
All right, Joe, thank you so much for that. We're going to take another quick break, but don't go anywhere just yet. Sports is coming up next on Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. Stay with us. The Traverse City Pittsburghers are entering the final week of the Northwoods League regular season. First-year field manager Todd Reed has kept his franchise very competitive in the standings as they look good to host a few playoff games and maybe even the Northwoods League championship game next week. Sports Director Harrison Beebe caught up with Coach Reed last week to find out how this team is putting its finishing touches on playoff prep.
The format of the playoffs is determined by the organization. So, in fact, in 19, even though we had home field advantage, we ended the season in Kalamazoo, so we started the series down there. We end the season this year up here in Traverse City, and so I think there's a very good chance we could open up that series here in Traverse.
Are you just kind of taking the guys you see all year and feeling comfortable plugging them in any spot you need?
Aaron Pisecki, who's been really the best player in the Northwoods League this season, and just an incredible year, arguably the best season that the Pittsburghers had. Broke Mario Camilletti's hits record, first player to hit over 400. So him having to go to school early is a hit. But we really don't have a lot of other transactions going on. We do have a couple guys coming back. So Ricky Kidd's going to rejoin our bullpen. Jack Griffiths is rejoining the team as a starting pitcher, and so we'll plug those guys back in. But the rest of the lineup's going to look a lot like it's looked all year long. It's great to have that stability going into this last month.
Do you think about that down the stretch, knowing that you could host the championship game here like you did in 2019?
Absolutely. We take a look at it, and some of it's just interest as a fan of the Northwoods League. Like, we're looking at who's doing well over in the Great Plains side, but also we are looking at, like, we would love the opportunity to give this organization, a chance to host a semifinal game or a Northwoods League championship if we were fortunate enough to get there. So doing these things during the regular season and having the most wins, in the league is special for us as players and coaches, but also something that we want to do for the organization and then certainly for the city of Traverse City. Northern Michigan loves its baseball. They love winning, and so to give them a chance to be able to be here and experience that with us in a playoff run or in a championship is special.
How nice is it to have a winning season coupled right with the Tigers having a great season?
Yeah, we got a lot of Tiger fans on the team, a lot of guys from the state of Michigan, and we're super proud. The baseball here is really good right now.
All right, let's take a quick break, but we'll check out the live results for our question of the day straight ahead. Stay with us.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Taking one last look at our question of the day tonight. Should all schools have vaping detectors in the restrooms? As you can see on your screen right now, 82% of voters are saying yes, 18% are saying no. Over on Facebook, we have about 50 comments. Brenda says, I think so. My daughter says she doesn't even like to use the restroom at her school because there are always people vaping in there. A lot of other comments about how some schools already do have them. We ran this story about Manton Consolidated Schools adding vape detectors into their newly renovated bathrooms, but it sounds like some other schools in northern Michigan already have these. So if you haven't voted yet, scan the QR code on your screen right now to let us know what your thoughts are on this question. But we are all out of time on Unscripted. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We hope to see you back here at 11 o'clock.